In this post, you wrote, or somebody on your comms team wrote, that using the correct pronouns impacts trans people's health, can reduce the risk of depression and suicide. That's a pretty serious claim. It seems like if you're going to demand people use these pronouns, you would know what they mean, right?
Mm-hmm. I delegate. 23andMe had a lot of people. We had six,
right.
seven.
You were
people.
CEO though, right?
I was CEO.
What is the difference between Z and Z? One of them is ZE and one is XE.
I'm not up to speed on that.
Okay. Does it concern you that not understanding this might increase the risk of depression and suicide amongst trans people?
I support my research team that felt that, it's important for us to be inclusive of everybody.
It doesn't seem very inclusive if you don't know what they mean, right?
I respect the social team and the research team that put that post together.
Mm-hmm. But you don't know what any of these pronouns mean, but you guys are promoting it.
I assume it's different ways people like to be referred to.
I assume it's different ways people like to be referred to. That's tonight's Red Hot video. Texas Republican Congressman Brandon Gill having a little bit of fun, perhaps at the expense of the founder and now former CEO of the genetics company 23andMe. You mail in your saliva or something. That turned DNA testing into an experiment on how woke a corporation can be. The congressman was referring to a tweet that the company put out in 2021. Their policy was that science shows using correct pronouns can impact trans people's health by significantly reducing their risk of depression and suicide. This is one of many reasons why we have been working to improve our product for trans and non-binary customers. They're non-binary. Now, the tweet includes the pronouns Z, that's Z-E, and Z, that's X-E, with an X, one with a Z, along with E, that's M-E-M, and F-A-E, these are right, and then F-A-E-R, I've got one more pronunciation for you, that's B-S, and that begins with B and it goes all the way to S. Pretty extraordinary stuff, but gendered pronouns, and I love this, and I've got to say, Cassie, that it's got to be awfully horribly embarrassing and ought to be humiliating for the CEO who went to Yale, naturally, another Ivy Leaguer, who puts out this policy and has and it's this radical left-wing, insane, gender-fluid policy, and she has no idea what these things mean. But you know that she was there to enforce it.
Sure. Well, where to begin on this one? But I will say, as someone who ran social media accounts for principals, including the Republican National Committee, the buck does stop with the executive, the person at the top, and they have to account for whatever goes out on their account. And typically, if you're doing your job right from the social media manager side, you're only putting out something that reflects the views of the people at the top. You're not really going rogue, and if you are, that's a whole other issue. So I do think that this was throughout the organization and the company. But also, what was that gobbledygook you were just saying? If 23andMe, an organization, a company that purports to work in science, should only be dealing in X and Y. That's it. What the rest of all of that was just performative.
Well, I got to say, Jason, this is another one where the left, the Democrat Party, obviously Democrat, just off the rails on this whole gender insanity, and it goes on and on. It never stops. We got a Supreme Court justice who's a woman who couldn't tell us what a woman is. Now the CEO of a major genetics company, billions and billions of dollars, and they have a policy that we will honor and respect all of this, but she has no idea what any of it is.
I'm wondering why this was even a thing. Why was she even brought up there? Was it to talk to her about pronouns? That seems like a waste of our resources as American taxpayers, that's what Congress is working on. I was hoping maybe there was some big story behind this and they wanted to talk to her about maybe all of the DNA that they have. What are they doing with it? Like, those are issues that I'd like to hear about, but not about pronouns or a tweet from 2023 or 2021, excuse me.
I'm pretty sure that's pretty
came
ridiculous.
Up too. And I'll say, I don't, if you want to be called Johnny, John, whatever, I don't need an explanation. You just tell me what you want to be called.
For the rest of the show.
And I will call you Joanne because I respect you as a human being.
Information. Truth. Is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.